The latest initiative by the Southeast governors and members of the National Assembly to meet with President Bola Tinubu to discuss the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the incarcerated leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, has elicited a wide range of opinions. Kanu has been a source of dispute in Nigeria's political sector. Some regard him as a symbol of their quest for self-determination, while others see him as a threat to national unity. Meanwhile, Ohaneze Ndibo, the apex Igbo socio-cultural organization, Olisa Agbokuba, a former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, and Ikoro Ndibo, among other groups, have welcomed the move as a step toward finding a political solution to the impasse. While spokesman for the Northern Elders Forum, Abdul Aziz Suleiman, kicked against the proposal. Suleiman argued that Kanu's release will undermine the country's criminal justice system and embolden separatist groups. Welcome to today's episode of Media Squad. My name is Stephen Abba. With me on the show once again is Patrick Aka. Patrick Aka, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
We need to do this quickly because time is not on our side.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you are looking very good.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
Okay, what do you think could be responsible for this agitation right now concerning the release for Nnamdi Kanu?
Yeah, thank you very much, Stephen, once again for having me on the show. There have been issues in the southeast. Issues of particularly security issues, where we've been having there's this sit-at-home call.
Yeah.
Every Monday in the southeast, where almost a lot of persons were surprised at the compliance of the level, because most of the times when you move around the southeast on those days, you find streets completely. In fact, most of the cities become ghost towns on those days. And I could recall the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, once said that anybody that can command such following is worth negotiating with. And Bishop Kuka once said again that there is in fact to him, that no Nigerian politician can, without financial inducement, mobilize that kind of crowd,
that kind of
behind him, or followership, behind him or her, and people believing in him or her, and whatever he or she is coming up with. That for that kind of man to command that kind of followership, for him to for people to listen to him, that large number, that such a person is somebody that worth negotiating with, And then, so the insecurity that Nnamdi Kanu's continued incarceration has created within the southeast, and particularly this sit-at-home, it has to a very large extent undermined the southeastern economy. Because I have a lot of friends, even here in Makodi, I have a lot of friends that when you meet them for one or two things, they will tell you that, oh man, I couldn't get this thing today. Why? Because of sit-at-home in the southeast. That their goods could not get here, cars could not move, markets did not open, and all of that in the southeast. So it's affecting the economy of the southeast, and of course Nigeria at large, because some other persons have said even people who come from neighboring countries, Cameroon and all that, to buy goods from Onitsha, Aba, and some of the major markets in the southeast, they're also encountering some of these difficulties, and it's taking its toll on the economy of the southeast, and by extension the economy of the nation. That is why this these southeastern leaders, to me I feel they've woken up from their slumber, because this is coming late. This is what they would have done right from the very beginning. Although there are quite a number of them that spoke during the last administration, the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, that came up, that discussed with him to see how these things can be resolved out of court, how they can be, Nnamdi Kanu can be granted immediate an unconditional release. Although maybe yes, they said there were going to be some terms, some conditions that Nnamdi Kanu must abide by. You know, he must sign certain undertakings and all that before he can be released. You know, but the then president, it appears as if he wasn't keen about you know, the political solution to the, you know, to the deadlock. He was more interested in punishing the young man, so to speak. You know, he was more interested in, you know, the issue being resolved legally and in court. You know, but presently at the moment, most of the leaders have just realized, good thing they are waking up from their slumber, and they are mounting pressure on you know, the current president Bola Ahmed Tinubu to see how Nnamdi Kanu can be released, so that some of the issues, particularly that have security you know, implications, can be addressed in the southeast.
Okay, now Abdulaziz just said that by the time he's released, his release will undermine the nation's what we stands for. Sorry, what the nation stands for. For example, we are not supposed to be divisible constitutionally and the rest of them. But I kept asking this question: what is the difference between what is happening in the southeast and what is happening in the northeast and northwest? Is it because these people are not coming out really to say we want to separate from Nigeria? Because a point will come, you begin to think Nigeria is at war because of the kind of things that happen in the northeast, in the southeast, and of course in the northwest. So what are the differences? Why can't we do the same thing we are doing in the southeast, in the northeast and northwest?
Now, Stephen, you say this is one sentiment that is rife in the north, and it shouldn't be so.
Okay.
Because yes, Nnamdi Kanu is challenging Nigeria's sovereignty.
Yeah.
No doubt. Boko Haram, the terror, the what do you call them, bandits, you call them Fulani militia, whatever you call them, they are also challenging the sovereignty of Nigeria as a nation. Because by the time you begin to set up, collect tax, you know, force people to, you know, you begin to hang your flags and things like that, what are you doing? Automatically you have challenged the sovereignty of the Nigerian state. You understand? So if Boko Haram have done that, and some of these other insurgents in the northeast, northwest, if they are doing that, then they have done even worse than what Nnamdi Kanu did. Because to me, self-determination is a right recognized by the United Nations. So if a man is calling for self-determination, I don't see it as a thing that should be demonized as we are doing in this country. Of course, there are issues that must have led to that. Some of those issues, are they being addressed? Marginalization of the southeast and all that, and even the way things are being done. Because I could recall when what's his name, the senator from Abia, former deputy governor of Abia State, the senator representing Abia South Senatorial District, distinguished Senator Yindaya Baribe, when he once said that why are we one when security agents are going after unknown gunmen in the southeast? Security agents are not going after known gunmen in the north. Now, what does he mean by known gunmen? We saw viral pictures and even videos of this Islamic cleric, you know, Sheikh Gumi, you know, holding meetings with bandits, sitting down with them. So to him, he felt that those people were known. That why was the Nigerian security, you know, apparatus not deployed to see to it that those people are arrested and brought to book? But war is being declared against gunmen said to be unknown, you know, in the southeast. You know, and I get back again to the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, you know, Bishop Matthew Kuka, who once said that we'll have a nation where there are two laws for two different sets of people. He said we'll have laws that makes provision for certain persons to get away with everything, and then we'll have laws that makes it possible or makes it impossible for certain people to get away with anything. But this is what is at play, you know. So, like you rightly asked, then what is going on in the northeast, northwest, as it were, and in the southeast? Nothing really much. I see it as what? As a challenge to Nigeria's sovereignty. And what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. If Nnamdi Kanu can be put on trial for challenging Nigeria's sovereignty, I don't see why we don't have some of these elements in the north
and even to
also being put on trial.
Even to buttress your analogy, you see that the persons that were arrested, probably the bandits, Boko Haram, they are now absorbed into the military, and they're now given you were paid, you are given a job to kill, because these people actually killed, and now they are in the military. And I kept asking myself this question: are we not learning from what happened in Afghanistan? Most of the persons that are in government now were actually former terrorists, because they were absorbed into the military. And immediately the United States withdrew its presence. These same people came back as terrorists, took over government, chased the people that were there already, and now they are the ones in charge. I think we should begin to learn from this.
Exactly, Stephen, like you rightly said. In fact, that is one of the reasons why the Afghan government could not stand with the withdrawal of the United States and its NATO allied forces. That's not they withdrew. The government could not stand, because even some of the persons who are in the army, who worked with the United States, even went back, because the US even gave the opportunity to some of those people who were in the Taliban to even be part of them. So immediately they withdrew. Those ones teamed up with the former ones, and it was just
a walkover.
It was a walkover. It was a walk in the park. And before you knew it, as soon as they were coming, the man who was in charge was even looking for the exit door, because he knew that he doesn't have the force to what it takes to stop them. So the best thing was for him to flee. So and that was exactly what happened. So like you rightly said, we don't seem to be learning from some of these things, because you cannot tell the state of this. This is more of an ideological thing. These people have been radicalized, indoctrinated, radicalized,
and weaponized.
Weaponized. So how sure are we that these people have been de-radicalized to the point that in future
now that is a question.
The real threat to national security, as the spokesman of the Northern Elders Forum is saying, that Nnamdi Kanu is going to constitute a threat to national security. How
is that true? I need you to say something on that.
Well, you see, the thing is that if you say he's currently if you're saying his release will be a threat to national security,
it's undermining.
It's undermining national security. Is it his incarceration that is not undermining national security? It's even undermining national security the more. You know, it's even undermining national security the more. You know, so I just feel that the best way to go is what the southeastern leaders are doing. The senators, the House of Rep caucus, the Southeast House, the Southeast caucus in the House of Reps, what they are doing, the various the Pan-Igbo socio-cultural group, the Ohanese Ndigbo, the leaders of Ohanese Ndigbo, the leaders of even the youth wing of Ohanese Ndigbo, the southeastern governors, the 5 of them, you know, the 15 senators from the region, they've all come together and they are speaking with one voice. And so many other leaders, they even made mention of the legal luminary and senior advocate Olisa Bakoba and the rest, who are lending their voice and commending some of this pressure on Mr. President to see how reason can prevail. And let this young man be set free. And if he has promised to drop some of his agitations, let them listen to him, give him the opportunity, and let him drop this agitation. And aside that, let some of those issues fueling some of these agitations be addressed, so that really we can see a country where everybody can really sit back and say, yes, we are really one. Because now at the moment, I think with the way things are going, one can say that one Nigeria is we are yet to get there.
Now maybe you should say something quickly on this. How has his continued detention impacted politics in Nigeria?
And yes, it has impacted politics, particularly in the.
Yeah, you spoke earlier about the economic aspect,
yes,
so you may not need to say anything about that.
Particularly in the southeast.
Okay.
Because some politicians felt that since the man is very popular among the people, that they feel that if they endear themselves to him, or they identify them, or they make the people feel that they are sympathetic to his cause, that it will translate to electoral victory to them, of which to an extent I will say yes, and then to an extent maybe it could be mere coincidence, because somebody like the senator representing Abia North, former governor of Abia State, that's what Jules Okalu, I think he was majority whip or deputy majority whip or so in the 9th Senate or so, something like that. He was holding one of these principal offices. He came out and started this call, although as an individual, and a lot of persons felt that, oh, maybe it was because elections were around the corner that he was doing this. Even the governor of Anambra State too has come out as an individual. Then, in fact, he was even saying, in fact, he came out to say that Nnamdi Kanu should be handed over to him.
Yes.
He said that Nnamdi Kanu, that he as governor is guaranteeing, or is going to stand as a surety for Nnamdi Kanu. That Nnamdi Kanu should be handed over to him as a person and as governor of Anambra State. And of course, the man the senator representing Abia South, Abaribe. When Nnamdi Kanu was to be granted bail, before the Operation Python Dance was declared against him and his and his subsequent escape from the shores of the nation, he needed a senator. Abaribe offered to sign among the people, because this was one of the bail conditions, was that a serving senator, he must get a serving senator's signature on his side. Abaribe was the person who did that for him, who came out. And you could see what happened. That made the man popular. He was in the PDP when he was even minority leader in the 9th Senate. And of course, he's from the same senatorial zone with the former governor, Okezie Ikpeazu. Of course, he couldn't clinch the party's ticket, that's the PDP's, ticket. And what did he do? He left for the All Progressives Grand Alliance, ABGA, and won the elections there, defeating the incumbent. As a result of what? Some of this, this popularity he has gained for identifying with Nnamdi Kanu. So to a very large extent, Nnamdi Kanu's sympathizing with him has a way of endearing any politician or any political actor with the masses.
Okay, let's say that with the generality of Nigeria
in particular.
Yeah, let's talk about Nigeria now. How has his continued incarceration affected politics in Nigeria? Has it probably divided the relationship between the federal government and the southeast, or are some persons in the southeast taking advantage of his incarceration? These things come to play once in a while.
Yes, you see, the thing is that if you say that we may not have iron cast evidence to show that, like I said earlier, we may not, maybe we make coincidence that some of these persons sympathetic to his cause, emerged victorious, in the last election. But one thing I can really recall was that in the build-up to the 2023 elections, this was one of the things that was used against the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. A lot of persons, particularly from the north, wanted him to dissociate himself completely. And that would have been suicidal. Back home, So he didn't do that. Because they wanted a situation where he will come out openly and condemn Nnamdi Kanu and what Nnamdi Kanu has been doing and what he stands for and things like that. But he didn't do that, So a lot of persons used it against him. I could recall that one of the spokespersons of the PDP, Daniel Bwala, was always saying that anytime, every opportunity he has to speak any issue, when anything has to do with Peter Obi, he's always raising this issue of Nnamdi Kanu, this issue of IPOB, you know. And then when some persons asked him that why is he always hammering on some of these issues, he said, well, in politics it is a normal thing that you always look for the weakness of your opponent and you look for a way of hyping it. As you are hyping your own strength, you're also hyping the weakness of your opponent.
Yes.
You know, and things like that. So maybe to an extent, of course, Nnamdi Kanu is somebody that the average Northerner does not want to hear in the North.
Yeah.
You understand? Whatever he stands for is one thing that the North dreads a lot.
Yeah.
And anybody seen to be sympathetic to him will certainly be an unpopular person in the North.
Yeah.
You know, so to an extent, I think I would want to say that Peter Obi's failure to openly condemn Nnamdi Kanu, what he stands for, I believe that to an extent it must have affected his popularity in the North.
Okay, now what do you think are the maybe legal implications or political implications for Mr. President, or even diplomatic implications if he assents to the demands of the people asking for the release of Nnamdi Kanu?
Well, to me, I don't really see much diplomatic implications per se, and even the legal, because there, of course, like I always tell people that every problem you see on the face of this earth, it has two solutions: a legal solution and a political solution.
Yeah.
Every problem you see, even a quarrel between a husband and wife, it has a legal solution and a political solution. Because by the time the wife calls her father and her mother and her brothers and sisters, and the man too calls his brothers and his fathers and his mothers and his family, and they sit down on the round table to discuss, what are they looking for? A political solution. You know, and there are also instances where they may say, okay, no, when both parties are maintaining their rigid positions, they may decide to say, okay, let us go and settle it in court. You know, and of course, some persons have even said concerning this issue, why they should adopt a political solution is that legal solution, most times one person lives happy, the other person lives sad. But in most cases, when political solutions are employed or adopted, both parties live what? Happily. That is why a lot of persons are saying that the issue of Nnamdi Kanu should be resolved politically. And of course, like you rightly asked, if there will be political solutions, if the president accepts or bows to the pressure from leaders of the southeast, I think, well, maybe the average Northerner may feel that maybe he's pursuing a southern agenda. Maybe he's looking for ways of boosting his popularity in the southeast to the detriment of the north.
It is a sitting between the devil and the deep blue sea now.
And the deep blue sea. And of course, again, currently there's this interview granted by the former senator representing Kaduna Central, senatorial district, in the person of Comrade Shehu Sani. He said something that there is a regrouping in the north against the president. That the north, and that he is calling them that in the interest of national unity, that should be shelved. He said that there is a regrouping across party lines, across so many ethnic lines and all that. They are trying to see how they can stop the president from being re-elected in 2027. But he is saying that throughout the 8 years, to him, as a person, Shehu Sani, he said that throughout the 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari, that there was no significant challenge from the south. No southerner came out to significantly challenge his 8-year presidency. That in the interest of national unity and cohesion, in his opinion, that idea, those moves should be shelved. So this kind of thing may fuel such if really there's a thing like that. But I feel that a thing like that may just be in existence or may be happening because a man like Shehu Sani will not just come out to speak if he does not have evidence.
Can you remember the issue concerning Kensarowiwa?
Yes.
During the Abacha regime.
Yes.
Are you seeing any correlation between this and that?
Yes, there could be. There is to the extent that this has to do with pursuing an agenda of one's people.
Self-actualization.
Yes, so to speak.
Yeah.
This has to do with pursuing, protecting the sectional, or let me say regional interest or tribal interest of a particular group.
Yeah.
To the detriment or perceived detriment of some other groups.
Yeah.
Because you see, anything, and this thing seems to be like a trend, Stephen. Anytime any southerner comes up with an idea that will, that is pro-south, is being viewed with much hostility from the north. Look at the issue of Kensarowiwa.
Yeah.
What was Kensarowiwa simply demanding? Just justice, resource control,
yeah.
Justice for the Ogoni people.
Ogoni people, yeah.
Going by the suffering they were suffering, environmental degradation all over the place, aquatic life being destroyed. The people in that place cannot engage in agricultural activities and all of that. Why they are the goose laying the golden egg, and almost nothing was getting back to them. So how do we reverse this situation? But what happened? Particularly some other persons that are not from that region viewed it differently, and all that. And this has always been like a trend. Anytime you come up with anything, okay, look at when the late governor of Ondo State was pursuing the setting up of the Western Nigeria Security Network, popularly called Amotekun. One young man, the secretary of Meatia Lakauta Hore, what's that his name? Somebody, Hassan Sali, came out to say that if the Yorubas don't drop that idea, that is going to cost them the presidency in 2023. Just imagine. People are thinking of how to secure their environment, how to provide security that the federal government has failed to provide. And then you are telling them that that is capable of undermining their chances of gaining the presidency. I don't think those things should happen. Okay, even the then Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Malami, who came out to say that Amotekun was unconstitutional. But seeing the resolve of the entire Southwesterners to see that thing comes to stay across party lines. I really commend the Southwesterners for coming out and speaking in one voice across party lines. You could see elders, stalwarts of the APC, of the PDP, of the ADP, of the SDP, the Alliance for Democracy, AD, all coming out, all on the same page. And what happened? The same Malami came out and said he was misquoted. I don't know what he really meant by this. Because English. It was very clear.
He spoke English.
It was very, very clear. It was in black and white. And there were tapes.
All right, Patrick.
There were videos. There were viral videos showing him where he said that it was unconstitutional. But how can somebody misquote you in a video that
we're due for a break now. Please, we're due for a break. You can join us on our social media handle and please participate. We want to see your comments and your questions, your participation. As we come back from this break, please stay with us. Don't go back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Media Squad on Benue Television. The 2024 UK election was historic in that 6 Nigerians are elected to parliament, reflecting the expanding diversity and representation in British politics. These new MPs, drawn from a variety of origins and areas, represent the UK's diverse cultural landscape. Their election demonstrates the Nigerian diaspora's growing political engagement and impact, as well as a larger trend of inclusivity or inclusive government. This milestone not only benefit the UK legislature body, but it also inspires future generations of ethnic minorities to actively participate in the political process, resulting in a more representative and egalitarian society. You may need to have the names of these great Nigerians who made the parliament. You have Chi Onwora, Kemi Bandenok, Kate Osamo, Florence Eshalomi, and Taiwo Owatemi, and Dayo Alaba. These individuals have made significant strides in their political careers and represent a wide range of constituencies across the UK. The election reflects the growing influence of the Nigerian diaspora in the UK and the importance of diversity in governance. Patrick, this is very interesting. Yes. We have 6 Nigerians as members of parliament in the UK. So what factors could have contributed to this successful selection or election of the 6 Nigerians in the parliament?
Yeah, Stephen, basically when you find situations like this, you should know that most of the things we use in electing leaders have not been used in those kind of climes.
Yeah.
Because here, talk about religion, talk about region, talk about tribe, talk about so many things that don't matter at all. You know, those things that don't matter at all are the things that we use as criteria for electing leaders, and that is why we end up with the kind of leaders that we end up with. That is why most of the times I tell people that, and I agree with sociologists who say that every society gets the kind of leadership it deserves, because you have the opportunity as electorates to determine who governs you. Of course, the Nigerian electoral system is improving by the day, no doubt about that. Nigerians don't seem to be taking advantage of that, you know. So, like you rightly said, the factors: 1, competence. To start with, there's a level playing field has been provided for the people of the United Kingdom to express themselves through the ballots.
Yeah.
Level playing field has been provided, and of course, if you listen to the speech by the outgone Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, he said he took full responsibility. He congratulated Starmer, the new Prime Minister, the Labour candidate. Yeah. He is of the Conservatives. He congratulated him, wished him well. He said he takes full responsibility. And what did he say above that? That the people of the UK have spoken.
Yeah.
That the people of the UK have what? Spoken. And as soon as I listened to Rishi Sunak, I asked myself that when are we going to have this kind of politicians in this country? When are we going to have those kind of politicians? And then we too, as electorates, when are we going to identify such persons and elect them into office? Because it doesn't just begin and end with we having the right. Those good people are in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Those good people contest. But what do? We prefer collecting handouts and peanuts from these politicians, and then we elect them and then expect them to repent overnight.
To do magic.
No, it doesn't work that way. So I just hope that Nigerians are watching these kind of things. How persons, of course, these same people you are seeing, Kemi Badenoch, I think she's just 32 or so.
Yeah.
Most of them are very young people. Bayo Alaba too.
Even they have a 22-year-old.
Good.
in the
You
as member
understand?
of parliament.
I think the oldest should be Chionwura, who won representing Newcastle Central West. Badenoch is supposed to represent, I think, Walden also. Taiwo is representing what do they call this place? Bio, of course, Bio is South End East. You know, Taiwo is somewhere in London anyway. She's supposed to represent. You know, so all of these people, what really made them popular? What endeared them to the British electorate for them to have won is because of what they have, the capacity they have shown. They have shown integrity,
and of course the society values
that, and the society is interested in what they are going into office to do. In fact, even Strama made mention of it, talking about public service delivery. One of the words, one of the terms he used in his inaugural speech, he used that term over 5 times: public service delivery. Do we have that kind of thing in Nigeria? What we have is somebody who takes over power, feeling that it is his turn. It is his turn to do what? to inflict more pain and more hardship on the people he claims elected him, or what?
So now, what can we learn from this? Nigerian government, Nigerians as electorates, and a Nigerian government. What have we got to learn from this?
No, what the Nigerian government need to learn from all this is that I wouldn't want to say the Nigerian government. I would like to say Nigerian government. Yes, let me start with the Nigerian government. Let's look at it this way. The Nigerian government must ensure that a level playing field is provided. INEC, the electoral umpire, is as independent as it can be. INEC must live up to its name. Look at what happened in Adamawa State. When the REC announced the winner of the election as against what is provided by law. What is in our laws say that a declaration should be done by the returning officer. And not the resident electoral commissioner. But the REC did this, and just imagine the woman herself, the supposed beneficiary, issued an acceptance speech. That means she was part of it, because Binani cannot tell us that she was not aware that what happened was an aberration, that what happened was unconstitutional and illegal. You know? So, okay, now, even when petitions were written against that REC, what did the chairman of INEC say? He said that his hands are tied, that the REC is an employee of the president. That it is the president that will take action against the REC. This does not show, independence in any way.
Yes, I think that is even wrong, because we have the law that is supposed to, for example, you can't say because a policeman committed a crime against the citizen, the federal government is his employer. So the federal government, I think there is a law already stipulated to punish that policeman.
That is why this police service commission is in existence.
So there wasn't need for that. There should be a law to punish any REC officer, INEC officer.
I think maybe the INEC chairman was just passing the buck, because actually, Stephen, if you look very well, to an extent the man had a point. But these are the issues that we need to address. That is why you talked about government. That's why I'm saying that government must be deliberate about this. Government must come out to say, let us give INEC the independence it needs. Let the president not have a hand in determining who becomes INEC chairman or resident electoral commissioner or national commissioner of INEC or anybody at all. Recall that these issues have been coming up when people are being nominated into INEC or as RECs or as whatever, and people write petitions. Say, these people, we know these people. For you to be in INEC, you must be somebody, you must be like Caesar's wife. You must be spotless. You must be somebody that has no track record of identifying with any political party. Look at this woman that was made she's now in the NDDC, the board of the NDDC, who was assistant to the president, Loretta Onoche, who was a SA social media to the former president. A woman who, if you look at her most googled picture, if you go online, most googled picture of Loretta Onoche is a picture of she wearing an APC with an attire boldly APC with former President Muhammadu Buhari, you know, picture on the apparel. You know, that is the kind of person that you want to put in INEC. Now, if that woman, if not for public outcry and outrage, which at the end of the day, I think reason prevailed, the Senate had to step down that nomination. And then she was given something, she's now in NDDC. You know, if you want to reward that woman for loyalty, for God's sake, must it be an institution like INEC? For God's sake. Because if that woman had, if that nomination has scaled through, if the Senate had confirmed her, and that woman served in a particular state, tell me why the result of election from that state will not be questionable. That is why, to an extent, sometimes I don't blame some of these politicians who are always questioning results. It is because of things like this. Because when the level of the level of the unbiasedness of the umpire cannot be ascertained, how do you expect people to such a result not to be not to be credible? Of course, the more a rec or an INEC official, a returning officer is seen to be biased, the more the result that is coming from him, the credibility of that result erodes.
So now, what are we supposed to learn as Nigerians from this singular thing that happened in the UK?
Very, very simple. Focus should not be on some of these parochial sentiments, like religion, region, party. Because in fact, in Benue here, some days ago, I was telling some people that why must it be APC or PDP? Sorry, Stephen, I have to mention names of political parties. Why must it be APC or PDP? We are denying ourselves of good governance in this state. There are credible candidates who are contesting outside these two political parties. But people are not looking in their direction. People are, I won't hear people who tell you that, oh, we don't know those parties. Parties don't govern, for Christ's sake. Individuals do.
People that govern.
Individuals do. And these are parties that don't prioritize what you need. Look at the selection process. Do they prioritize competence? Do they prioritize character, integrity, capacity? No. These are people that what basically they consider is party loyalty. How long have you been in the party? How well have you served the party? How long have you served the party? Whether you have served the party well, whether you have not served it. We can't get it. We can't go anywhere with all of this.
Patrick,
so
quickly.
We as Nigerians, we need to focus on candidates.
Good.
Getting in the right persons into the right offices. As the people of United Kingdom have done. And of course, from my own point of view, Stephen, the new UK Prime Minister has started well. He has called the Prime Minister of Israel and the Prime Minister of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas and Benjamin Netanyahu. He has told them that he wants a ceasefire in Gaza, and that he has told Netanyahu that they have to find a way of getting the rate at which aid gets into Gaza to civilians. They need to increase it. It needs to be ramped up. You know, and of course, one of the policies which Rishi Sunak, the former Prime Minister, pursued vigorously, which was the sending of asylum seekers to Rwanda. He has completely cancelled it. He said it was dead on arrival. That was what he said. So from my own point of view, just these two steps in the last couple of days, to me, I feel that
Nigerians are asking these questions that now that we have 6 Nigerians as parliamentarians in the UK, does that mean these people will speak for Nigerians in the UK? You know, these sentiments play once in a while. Because your brother is in the Senate, you expect your brother to talk specifically about your case. So I don't know, is this right that Nigerians should be thinking that parliamentarians who of Nigerian extraction should protect Nigerians in the UK? Are they there for Nigerians or they are there for the UK people? I need you to
Stephen, they are there for the UK people. Because it is not only Nigerians that elected them. So they are UK citizens of Nigerian descent. So they are there to protect the interest of their various the various persons that elected them to represent them, because that is what the law and logic of representation is all about. Yeah. It's all about you going in there, because everybody cannot be there. Yeah. That is why the entire country is broken into senatorial districts and confederal constituencies, so that one person will be sent to go and represent the multitude. He is to go in there and champion the cause of the multitude, to go there and defend them. Whatever they want is what he or she is expected to do there, and whatever they don't want is what he or she should avoid doing in the hallowed chambers or in the parliament. Of course, unfortunately, that is not really the case here in Nigeria. So in the UK, we're expecting these parliamentarians, UK citizens of Nigerian descent, to go there, protect the interests of the people that elected them. Then, if need be, as provided in the various laws, UK laws, if a provision for them to protect Nigerians there, good and fine. Then, back home, Nigeria here, I'm expecting Nigerians to take advantage of the relationship they may have with some of these persons, to see how problems of this country can be given global attention. Because I could recall that at the peak of the herdsmen crisis, these things were mentioned in the UK Parliament. Nigerians even demonstrated, went to 10 Downing Street, and even went to the UK Parliament calling for international, trying to see how this thing can be given international publicity.
Patrick, this is a good place to leave it. Look forward to having a more interesting discussion with you on a more interesting topic.
Thank you very much, Steven.
This is where we draw the curtains on today's episode of Media Squad. We'll say stay tuned and watch the rest of our programs. My name is Stephen Abba. Have a lovely day.